back to my channel. I've tried to film this a few times and every time I do someone interrupts me, so I apologise for it taking so long. It's what happens when you're a busy mum and you have children and other people and it's close to Christmas, so yeah. I wanted to do a couple of videos, but I've decided to try and fit everything into one video. The last video I said was about either I was waiting for my MRI proctogram or I just had it and I was waiting on results. I can't really remember. But I'm here to tell you the results of that proctogram and to kind of tell you what the next steps are, plus what happened when I went to an appointment last week. So the MRI proctogram, if you don't know what an MRI proctogram is basically a MRI scan where they will basically ask you to wear a hospital gown, strip off from the waist down, and sometimes they'll give you shorts with an opening in the back like they would do for a sigmoidoscopy, but sometimes they don't, and they will basically put some contrast gel or paste into your rectum, so into your bottom, and they will basically ask you to lay down with the gown open so they can't see anything, but then they will place like what can only be described as a cardboard dustpan under your back and bottom, and then they will give you a scan. The scan takes roughly around 45 minutes, so in total you're in your appointment about an hour, and then after your scan you're free to go. So they basically ask you to lay on the machine, they do a few scans, and then they will ask you to start bearing down, first gently, and then they will ask you to intensify the bearing down until you try and start expelling the gel or paste that they've placed inside you, so that they can see how you basically go to the bathroom. This will determine how strong your muscles are, whether there's anything being held back inside, and things like that. Each hospital does it differently, so some hospitals will have you also drink a contrast type of barium as well, like drink or something, and they will also use the gel at the same time, and then they will ask you to sit on like what's known as padded buckets, because they look like padded buckets, and they will use a scanner to go around you as they're doing the same scan. It's just different at different hospitals, and depending on what they're looking for as well, depends on what type of test they ask for. Mine, because it's a small hospital, only did it the way that I've just described at the beginning. They told me that my test results would be back within 2 or 4 weeks. However, because of backlogs and because of delays and things like that, it could take longer, and that if I hadn't heard anything in 6 weeks, to give the consultant a call just to see whether or not they'd received any report back. I received a letter through my door within about 3 weeks, which I was quite surprised at because I was expecting to be chasing it. But no, 3 weeks later, a letter came through my door from the general surgery team from the colorectal department stating that my MRI proctogram showed everything that my sigmoidoscopy has shown, that I had a significant rectocele, I had my prolapse, and that the tissue friability was very prominent, and it also showed that I had a severe pelvic floor dysfunction, and that my treatment options are very limited given the fact that I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. Now, I already knew from my previous appointment back in September, October last year, after I'd had my sigmoidoscopy and saw my consultant, that I wasn't going to be able to have the treatment that they would normally use to treat this problem. And that would be to have like a mesh internally placed inside my back passage, to basically put the rectocele, fix the rectocele and put the prolapse back in place. The reason being is because, like I said, the tissues inside are too friable, which means that the mesh would literally just come back away again, and I would be back to square one as soon as it did. So it wouldn't hold, and there'd be no point doing that procedure because it's just pointless, basically, because it just wouldn't work. So they told me that eventually my situation would get worse. I would either end up with blockages, or I'd end up which would require surgery obviously to remove, unless obviously I'm taking lots of laxatives and things and still doing my irrigation, which eventually would then lead to probably being incontinent with feces, and obviously that's not something I want to be doing, especially at the age that I am, because I'm not really an older person. I'm kind of just like in like my middle years, so they basically said that normally within this situation with somebody like myself where a mesh is not feasible, they would ideally do an ileostomy. But because I'm tube fed and fed through a PEG J, anything that goes into my small intestine through one end would literally come out as liquid through the other end, and that would basically cause electrolyte issues and probably dehydration issues, which wouldn't be ideal. So the best option that I have would probably be a colostomy. However, they wanted the result, at that time, they wanted the result of the MRI proctogram, which obviously has showed this severe pelvic floor dysfunction. So they were going to have this MDT meeting. This is what my letter said. You have pelvic floor dysfunction, it's quite bad, your treatment options are limited, and we're going to have an MDT meeting. It's been referred over to a different consultant who's having an MDT meeting to discuss your case to figure out what's the best option to do. I then got another letter, and they were referring me to pelvic floor physiotherapy, who I've already had an appointment with, who've said that other than giving me an internal examination, it sounds like I'm already doing all of the exercises that they would tell me to do anyway. But at least I can tick the box off to state that they know I'm doing them properly if they give me an examination. So that's booked in, but I'm not sure if I can go to that appointment because something else has happened since then, which I'm about to explain. So I since received another letter from colorectal general surgery stating that they need to see me, and that they wanted to find out what dates I wasn't available, for the simple reason because there's no appointments currently available. There's up to almost a year waiting list to be seen. So they wanted to know what dates I wasn't available so they could fit me in around that. Now, within that time, obviously, when I got referred to colorectal, they had a shorter waiting list in gynecology, and I was waiting to see gynecology as well. I got referred to both of them on the same day. It's took over a year for gynecology to finally get back to me. And when they did, within 2 weeks of having a telephone consult to see if I needed a face-to-face consultation, I had an appointment to go and see somebody within the 2 weeks of that call. Unfortunately, that appointment was cancelled, and then it was rearranged again for 2 weeks after that, and again it was cancelled. But then last Wednesday, I was supposed to have had the appointment a week on Monday, so last Monday, and I got told it was cancelled on the Friday, and then on the Wednesday of last week I got a phone call from them stating they'd had a cancellation for the Thursday clinic that week, and could I go to clinic appointment on the Thursday. I said absolutely, I'm going to go, because they'd rearranged it for the 30th of November, and I thought, you know what, chances are it's going to get cancelled again. So as soon as they told me they'd had a cancellation and that I could go, I jumped at it and I was like, yeah, I'm going. So the reason I had to see gynecology was because, as I mentioned earlier, I've had uterine ablation. Unfortunately, my uterine ablation failed back in 2012 and my issues did not fully go away. They've now come back kind of like, I don't know whether I'm coming and going when it comes to lady cycles. So the only thing that they can give me now is a hysterectomy. So I was going to discuss having a hysterectomy. And because laparoscopic surgery is not ideal for me, because the last one I had almost took my life, and because I have prolapses, I can't have a hysterectomy done through transvaginally. I can only have an open procedure, and because of the fact that colorectal general surgery may or may not be wanting to give me a colostomy, I had to discuss with gynecology whether they would be happy if general surgery are looking to give me a colostomy and just waiting to speak to me in order to give me that procedure, whether them procedures could be done at the same time together. Because my abdomen is going to be open anyway, because it's an open procedure for a hysterectomy, it just makes more sense to me to have both of those done at the same time, because of the fact then it means only one surgery, theoretically. So it's basically like 2 procedures with 1 incision, 1 admission, 1 anaesthetic, a little bit longer in hospital, and only 1 recovery. And it just means that my family as well don't have to take so much time out to look after me, because then I'm only having the 1 procedure, but theoretically I'm having 2 procedures under 1 incision. So it means that the recovery time is the same, and everything. And it means then as well that if I go for my hysterectomy and my colostomy at the same time, later on down the line, I won't have to just have my hysterectomy now and then later on down the line be cut back open again when I've built all of those core strength muscles back up to have my abdomen opened again. So then to go back to square one and have to do it all over again anyway, and means more time off work for my family and stuff in order to help me out around the house, which is not ideal. So makes more sense to me and my gynecologist to have these procedures done together. So he said to me, that's absolutely fine. I will speak to the colorectal general surgeon and see whether that is something that they're wanting to do, and if so, can they book it in at the same time as me doing your hysterectomy, and then I'll get back to you in about 2 or 3 weeks. He said there is a waiting list. He said a waiting time for a hysterectomy, so don't expect to be called anytime soon. I said fine, not a problem. And he said to me, I'll call you in about 2 or 3 weeks when I've heard back. And I said, great, no problem. Turns out I got a phone call yesterday for them to book me in for my hysterectomy at the end of December this year. So now that has been deferred because they're still waiting to hear back off colorectal to see whether or not if they have a procedure they want to do, whether it can be done at the same time. So I've had to do a lot of ringing around and trying to figure this out. But if colorectal are not planning on doing any surgery, or they can't gel together at the same time to come and do the surgery or fit me in an appointment to discuss a colostomy or whatever the procedure plan may be from this MDT meeting, because I don't know, because all I knew was that they were doing an MDT meeting and now they want to see me. So it's very likely that a colostomy is what they want to be talking about and what they want to do. But until I know for sure, I don't know anything. But I do know that I'm scheduled to have a hysterectomy in the next few weeks, which has had to be deferred until they know whether colorectal want to jump on board and kind of do the two procedures of giving me a colostomy and a hysterectomy at the same time. Some consultants say no, because obviously having a colostomy placed can be messy, because obviously they're messing with your bowel, which gives you a greater risk of infection. But seeing as my bowel is going to drop down into the space where my uterus would technically be anyway, it's just going to cause my prolapse to worsen anyway. So chances are they may turn around and say, yeah, fine, we will do it together, if that's what they're planning on doing. But like I said, at the moment I'm still in the dark whether colostomy is exactly what they're going to do and what I'm needing. But if it is, then hopefully they can do it together. So that's pretty much my update. That's pretty much where I am at the moment. At the moment I'm booked in to have my hysterectomy, but it could be delayed or changed to a different date depending on what colorectal want to do. But at the moment it's on hold. But when I know more, I'll let you guys know more. But yeah, that's pretty much my update. Like I said, it's been a roller coaster. So far, touch wood, I have not had an abscess in my peg J since mid-October. So touch wood, this stays as it is now, and I don't get any more because I really don't need any more abscesses. I've had like 8 of them this year so far since I've had it placed, and over a short period, and I really am thanking the Lord that I'm actually having so much time off antibiotics now, because they were just causing problems. So yeah, hopefully touch wood that has eased off and now I'm starting to heal again better, and I can start increasing my feed again, which is good, because every time I got an abscess I couldn't stay on my normal level of feed, like it was causing too much pain. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Once I know more about what the hell is going on with colorectal general surgery, whether or not I need a colostomy, whether or not they're going to do it together with my hysterectomy, I'll let you know. If I'm just going to have my hysterectomy instead and no colostomy, then again I will still let you know. But at the moment it's up in the air and I'm waiting for people to talk to each other and talk to me. So like I said, I'm booked in for my hysterectomy at the end of December, but at the moment it's on hold until they hear back. So hope you've enjoyed this update. Hope you're having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. I'm going to go now before my kids come in from school. And yeah, take it easy. Sorry it's been a while since I've posted, but you know, family life and all that seems to take precedent. And like I said, I do tend to start these videos and then I get interrupted. This is my third time trying to do this video today, and every time I try, someone's phone. So I'm gonna get off the phone now and get off this video. But thank you so much for watching. Thank you again for so much for all your patience, and I hope you enjoy this update. If you have any questions, as always, either DM me on my Instagram, which is tagged below, or you can ask them below and I'll be happy to answer them. Thanks again. Thank you for watching. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekend, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye guys.